Was buying a ZD30 camera car our worst decision ever, or was it probably one of our best? Today, Steve and I are going to pick apart this vehicle and answer the question you guys have been asking us for 5 whole years. Destinations like Cape York, Tassie, the Simpson Desert, the Kimberleys, over and over again. These things get worked proper hard. If there was a track in Australia these vehicles haven't driven, I would be very surprised. Today, we're going to be celebrating the unsung hero of the full drive 24/7 crew, the camera car. Over the last 15 years, we've burnt through at least 6 camera cars. They start looking fresh and clean like this, but after back-to-back trips for 2 to 3 years, they end up completely wrecked. We've tried Troopies, 80 series, 100 series, GU wagons, and 5 years ago, we chose something most full drivers would turn their nose up at: a 3-litre leaf-sprung GU Patrol Ute. To understand why, you need to understand how these cars get used, because no other full drive gets used the same. It's almost always the first one up the tracks to set up cameras for the boys' drives. The cars have got to be able to do 2 to 3 weeks fully loaded up in the Cape or the Kimberleys, but they also need to be tough enough to do some crazy things down in Tassie, like the $1,000 track. It also normally has 2 to 3 camera boys living out of it. It's got to carry all their camping equipment, plus food, clothing, plus all their camera gear, which is a lot. The dream camera car needed to be strong, reliable, easy to maintain, and have a high GVM. It was really down to a 79 or a 3-litre GU for GVM reasons. We ended up going with the Gs because really they're just so much cheaper, and we could pretty much buy 2 to 3 of them for the same price as one cruiser. The only downside was going to be if the ZD30, known to be a grenade, was going to be able to cop the abuse. 5 years on, this poor old thing has done so much work. It's probably been bogged over 200 times, had weeks of labour spent on repair, between everywhere across the country, driven thousands of kilometres, and literally just got back from 3 weeks pushing full drive tracks all through the Kimberley. Behind us is our original ZD30 camera car. It's been with us for 5 years and has done many trips. And Steve, well, he's no stranger to this vehicle.
Yeah.
It's just gotten back from the Kimberley, so what do you reckon, Steve? We open the bonnet and have a look, because the boys left us a big list.
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous about this one. They tell me that it's on its last legs. All right, we'll have a little look here, hey?
He's definitely been pushing some tracks up the front. Look at this.
They tell me that it's definitely been overheating, and I can see why.
Yeah, wow.
There is no airflow down in that radiator. It is just all grass and mud and dirt.
Even in the intercooler, condenser, it's everywhere.
Down between the intercooler and the condenser as well.
That'll be getting zero airflow.
So no airflow, that explains the overheating. If you remember rightly, it's had an engine put in it before this trip.
Yeah, it was the first trip on the new motor, yeah.
And we did just about everything you could do with a second-hand motor to try and make it survive. But they tell me it's no good again. So, look at that. So we've got a boost leak over here. So that's probably why they're thinking they're down on power and boost, because that's got a split intercooler hose there, so that should
simple.
Be a pretty...
Not even a Nissan part, yeah.
No, it should be a pretty easy fix, that one. And we can see it's a bit wet up here. They told me the top of the motor had some diesel on it.
Maybe that little O-ring.
I reckon it's just there's a little O-ring underneath that pipe there. I reckon that O-ring just needs replacing.
Nothing too major, really.
I don't think so. Should we start it up and have a listen?
See what it sounds like.
Yeah, let's see what it's like.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds all right.
Nice and smooth.
Still got coolant in it?
A little bit, yeah, not much.
Doesn't look like it's bubbling.
No. Still nice and green too.
Still nice and green.
About normal for a ZD, really. Yeah. Nothing too crazy.
A little bit. Doesn't feel like there's loads of pressure there, so bottom end's probably okay.
Sounds nice and healthy too.
Yeah, I reckon. So, I mean, we'll shut it off. It sounds okay. Other than a couple of, self-inflicted, from pushing trucks and that sort of thing. A bit of an intercooler hose there and a small O-ring. Yeah. I think there's a chance that this does another turn.
I reckon it's pretty good. And as you said, you did replace the engine. Did I just mention it had a new engine? That is an important detail we did miss. Earlier on in the year, on the Ute of the Year trip, the ZD30 gave out.
Oh my goodness.
We made the call to replace the engine because every other element of the vehicle was still in good enough condition to get us a few more years of filming. I think a bit of that was self-inflicted too. We tried to probably put a bit too much power through these things, had a big G turbo on there. A bit of dirt maybe might have had something to do with that turbo and engine failure, but this new one, well, it sounds like it's running pretty well. And this stuff is just general maintenance, really.
We know that the weak link of these is going to be the engine, right?
Yeah, for
so
sure.
From time to time, they're going to have an engine failure in these. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
When? Near impossible to say.
Exactly, yeah.
But all in all, I think, you know, when you compare this to any of the other cars on the trips that go,
yeah,
it puts up with a lot of punishment.
100%. The boys drive them hard.
Just as good as anything else that's sent on these trips, right? We see plenty of failures and stuff go wrong on the cars on the trips. It's not like they don't. And this is often one of the leaders of the pack, right?
Yeah, it's you've been there. And it gets the least respect out of all the vehicles probably. Gets driven hard. And we've got 2 of these things. We've done 1 motor in 5 years, which is pretty good innings, really.
To be fair to these engines, I really don't know that we have had to do a heck of a lot on them. Normal maintenance, a manifold clean from time to time, replace the injectors from time to time. Outside of that, you don't generally have too many issues with them until they're a problem.
Exactly,
They will either be going or they will fail. That's kind of it. You don't typically have too many issues with them unless you overheat them. If you blow a radiator or something like that, you'll do a head gasket.
And I'd say that's like hats off to Pinnacle too, because you guys do preventative maintenance. Like you said, you change injectors, you'll change filters and all that sort of stuff, and we've never had fuel system problems.
Yeah.
It's sort of anything external. We've had definitely intercooler pipes blow off, we've had turbos blow up, but the ZDs themselves, as you said, they're good till they're not. They're
good till they're not. They'll go until they don't, and then it's just a matter of what you do with it from there, right? Obviously, you guys decided that, hey, it's still got more life left in it.
Yeah.
We'll do a second-hand motor and we'll put that in it, and we'll keep the wheels turning, as it were.
And at the end of the day, it's a little 3-litre 4-cylinder engine. It does a lot of work for the size of the engine.
Honestly, this wasn't what I expected. The camera crew came back from the Kimberley convinced the engine was cooked. But after turning over the engine with Steve, we found a couple of smaller issues that could explain most of the complaints. So with the engine looking okay, we still need to think about extra maintenance on the car.
I had some issues with the factory locker system, so replaced the solenoids for that and the switch, and you guys, I think, busted up the little vacuum solenoid on the back of the diff.
They were never great to start with those things, honestly.
So, you know, did those. That was that. We've done the transfer case, rebuilt the transfer case in it, obviously chain stretch, so just did a full rebuild on the transfer case. Outside of that, engine is, you know, as you know with these, very common, the tensioner. So doing belt tensioners and belts and maintenance. You know, we're obviously always changing engine oils and gear oils. We basically, for you guys, every service is full fluids, front to back, all filters, front to back, every single time. CV shafts out, axles out every single time, checking everything, put it all back together again, doing wheel bearing, you know, repacks or replacement every time. The motor wise itself, we haven't really had to do a heck of a lot on the motors themselves, just the ancillary that's around them. You know? But obviously, you know, it was on that Ute of the Year trip, and failed on the Ute of the Year trip. You know, there was no real signs of it failing up until it was on the beach, and by the time they'd pulled over,
it was done.
It was toast. But they'd not mentioned before that there was anything wrong with it.
No signs whatsoever.
Sort of what we were saying before about they go until they don't. Right?
It's normally at an inconvenient time. But there's nothing you can do to stop that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's got 320,000 on the clock, and if you compare that to a normal vehicle, it's probably equivalent to around 600,000, because these things get driven hard. They're always loaded up. So I feel like putting a motor in it wasn't really a silly decision. As you said, you did everything, new head, new, you know, all the bolt-ons. It's probably going to be good for another 300,000 now, I reckon, as long as we keep up that general maintenance.
One of the things that we almost never have to do anything with, really, is the MITS alloy on the back of it. So it's been on there for years and years. Other than replacing the occasional broken lock from just, you know, getting damaged, or a door from getting damaged, we really don't have to touch it. It's all the original gear that was in here, the original drawers, original battery system. We've never had to touch it or replace it. You know, I don't even think we've ever had to replace the gas struts on the thing, so it just does everything that they ask of it.
The camera car hasn't lived the life of a normal touring vehicle. It finishes one trip, comes back, gets a quick service, and turns around and goes straight back on another trip. Because of all that wear and tear, we usually want to swap them out every 2 to 3 years. The GU, however, has actually done 5, and it's only had 1 engine failure, 1 turbo, a transfer case, and regular full drive maintenance you'd expect from any full drive doing this much work. If you'd asked most people 5 years ago, they all would have told us this thing would not last, but here we are, over 100 trips later, and we're still debating whether it actually needs replacing.
I believe the ZD got a very bad name thanks to the DI engine, but these CRD ones, Steve, they're actually a pretty good thing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are pretty good. They do last a lot better. They changed the internals on those common rails, so they did definitely get a bad rap in the early days. And I still think from time to time we know that they fail. It is a thing, but ultimately you guys have had a great run out of these two cars. You know, the abuse that they cop,
for sure.
they've held up so well for you guys, so I don't think there's really too much question mark over it. I think it's pretty safe to say that it's been a good decision for you guys, and I think for the camera boys,
I think this is the
these
perfect
make a lot of
setup,
sense.
really.
Ultimately, this GU has done exactly what we bought it to do. It's carried the camera crews all over Australia, kept delivering footage from places most vehicles would never see. The bigger question now isn't whether it can keep going, it's whether we should keep asking it to.
So previously there was discussions about whether it's time to retire this car, right? It's getting a bit long in the tooth, it's been around a while, it's done a lot of hard trips, and whether it's time to retire it off the back of the last Kimberley trip. But now it's back here, I'm thinking it may not be so bad.
After a look over, it's just a bit of general maintenance, really.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad. Potentially, we reevaluate that thought, and maybe it does another couple of turns yet.
I reckon it's got another couple of years in it at least, but interesting question for you guys. If we were to replace the camera car, not buy another ZD30 GU, what do you think would be fit for purpose? Chuck it in the comments down below because I'm keen to see what you guys reckon. Both Steve and I agree that this car is pretty much perfect for what the camera boys need and do. Anyway, that's all we've got time for today. We're going to get stuck back into working on this camera car, so we'll see you next time.
We're about to take on one of the craziest challenges we've ever done. Got through! Yeah. This doesn't get the heart racing, you've got to check your pulse.
Woohoo! Man down! I'm absolutely drenched. This was not on the radar.
It's actually running.
It's actually a flowing river down through here. Our adventure hasn't even started yet.
3 PSI in the tyres.
And we're having an adventure.
Oh, soot's just all over the place. Oh, look at this.
24 hours of winching. Oh, we've done 1 kilometre. Wow.